Hey guys, this is the second day of the IAB Forum, and we are having today a very special guest, Jason Jercinovic. He's Global Head of Marketing Innovation in Havas Group, and we're having a little interview with him, so I hope you like it. All right, so you're here for the IAB Forum. Yesterday you've given a speech on the ethics of AI. I'm pretty sure that no one visiting IAB needs to be convinced on the power of data. But for our followers and those other people who wouldn't be able to make it to the forum, but still are obviously doing digital advertising and would like to push their online business to the next level, could you please explain what data-driven marketing is about and how it can help their businesses?
Sure. Well, today it's a great time to be in marketing. You know, it's amazing the tools that we have at our disposal, and there's two things that are really important to note. One is access to people's individual information. Obviously, with their permission, you can have access to their Facebook and their Instagram and their preferences of who they are and what they're all about as an individual. And that, coupled with recent access to artificial intelligence tools, enables us to dive deep into the individual nature of those people, to move beyond things like segments and cohorts, to understand people as individuals and even communicate to them in a very personalized or individual way. So in many ways, artificial intelligence is a holy grail for digital marketing, in that you have access to these tools that provide deep insights. And therein lies the challenge. Therein is the rub. You know, if I'm able to know you as a consumer in a very deep way, there's the opportunity for me to communicate to you in a way that is extremely effective. I can perhaps get you to buy something, and maybe you like hamburgers, maybe I give you the desire to have 4 hamburgers, and maybe that's 3 hamburgers too many. The point is, we need to think about the use of these insights in a way that protects the individual, that protects the consumer, and enables them to establish trust with the brand. And that's the opportunity we have now as digital marketers, is to use both the tools and the information we have as individuals to make it a better way.
Okay, I feel this matter of trust is particularly of interest to Polish consumers who are totally leading the way in terms of ad blocking. It's like a third of Polish internet users is using ad blocking software. So probably they're doing this because they don't put trust into what brands are communicating to them.
Oh, there's the trust of the brand. There's also a lot of advertising is just obnoxious or annoying, and it's not good. You know, we have to increase the level of our game as advertisers and make really good communications. But I think not only the Polish market is seeking to block advertising. You know, the digital model is a little bit broken in the sense that, you know, we took an interruption-based model from television of having a commercial in between the content and tried to apply that directly to a digital media. And it doesn't work that way. You know, if you look at how we look at attempting to monetize traditional published content, having to wait to have an ad that blocks my experience or comes over the top before I can read the article, that doesn't make any sense. You know, it's the wrong model for the new medium. And so for years, digital thinkers have been espousing this notion of building informed experiences that exhibit the personalities and tendencies of the consumers. And sophisticated brands are moving beyond advertising, moving beyond interruption-based advertising to create sophisticated experiences. Those are brand platforms that enable value to go between the customer and the brand. And I think Polish users and everybody will realize the value of that, and I think we're seeing that migration happen already. Perhaps you guys will lead the way in that regard. I wonder, is there a legacy of coming from the past of you know, the Soviet occupation that also amplifies that fear of being listened to? I don't know. I'm just hypothesizing. It's interesting when you think about that. Americans themselves are embracing ad blockers, though. You know, and even I think this week, Apple announced a more sophisticated technology with their new OS that will automatically block some of this. Google themselves are embracing this in a bigger way. I think the big enterprise companies are looking at evolving their operating system, evolving how they engage with consumers, because they're informed in the same way that I was discussing. They know that you need to have these experiences be valuable, as opposed to just blocking the experience and forcing us to watch this ad, which, the pre-roll before video is just, it's crazy, I was at a conference, actually we hosted an Innovation Day in New York last week, and one of the, I think it's the president, Joe Marchese, is the president of Fox, and he's a digital guy that just became the president of the ad business. And he was talking about how he's bringing a digital perspective into how they're trying to reinvent streaming of content. And so for FX, which is a Fox channel, they've eliminated commercials, eliminated interruption commercials on the stream. And I was groundbreaking. You think of a content provider not using the commercials they have in that way. It's great because it shows that they understand the value of the new medium. And he spoke of using television advertising in an internet medium in a similar way. So you're taking an old model and trying to put it into a new model. And we need to evolve the new model to the new medium. And I think we'll see that more and more on mobile, because as we move from desktop to mobile, the experience that we have on the device doesn't work with ads. Display does not work on mobile, right? Because you need to get to where you're going to immediately. You have often lower data capacity, although perhaps 5G will change that in the future. But we have no patience for advertisements on mobile at all. Yet increasingly more of our time is spent on mobile devices. So we as an industry need to evolve that experience. And that's ironically how cognitive comes back into play. Because if you can use the insights that come from data-driven intelligence and marketing to inform those experiences, they're not advertisements anymore. They're a value exchange, and they're very good for you as a user.
Okay, you've mentioned artificial intelligence. I feel it's been a totally hottest buzzword during the last years in terms of marketing innovation. But what AI actually is, and how can it bring benefit to business?
AI is a bit of a misnomer. It kind of reminds me of user-generated content.
Right.
The description is, a construct that we put on something that's not right, because it's not really about artificial or intelligence. It's really about customer intelligence. It's about enhancing the insights that we have around individuals. And you could use a variety of technologies to do that. But the benefits it gets back to the data-driven marketing equation. Artificial intelligence is a series of tools, primarily driven through APIs, that allow us to build these custom applications or experiences that are based on these insights that come out of data. And that's a very exciting and buzzworthy term, because if you think about what we do as marketers, we're trying to get an understanding of who the user is, and now we have access to these tools that enable us to do that in a scalable, cloud-based way. We're gonna go big with that, because that's what we do, and this is a tool that enables us to do that better. So it makes sense that it's in the press a lot right now, because of the capabilities are really being seen and utilized for the first time. And it's a combination of things. First of all, the growth of cloud and the enablement of us to use these services in the cloud to develop bespoke applications and services across both media and creative is it's unprecedented, and we're really entering that age of the cloud right now that enables that to happen. But secondly, the processing power now that we have in the cloud is unlimited. So it's almost like we can use that processing power in a way that was unprecedented even a few years ago. You couple that with the growth of these technologies, and it's really a new dawn. It's a new dawn for marketers to be able to use these tools, to be able to create experiences in new and unique ways. And we at Havas have been leading the way on this by bringing this code of conduct around ethics to our clients, and to do it in the right way that protects the user, enables them to see the value. Many of the ideas that we have around ethics are around transparency, making sure that we are communicating the value of the experience. And so we trade our data for value. And so by exposing how the algorithm works, being transparent in terms of which input drives which output, users can become more comfortable with understanding the benefit to them. Secondly, we want to make sure that they understand what they get out of it. So that's their own benefit. And then the most important point is the ability to opt out. Pull me out. Get me out of here, right? All systems need to have the ability to remove the user. What is clear is that this notion of privacy, I think, is going to be the battleground of the next few years. And intelligent brands and future brands can get ahead of that by building sophisticated artificial intelligence tools that enable the individual consumer's privacy to be managed in an ethical and trustworthy way.
Okay. On the other hand, along with the exponential growth of cognitive computing and the cloud technologies, I'm feeling that AI is really becoming really accessible to
Correct.
everybody.
Correct.
Be it the open APIs, the open source projects. They are allowing many different people, freelancers and agencies to develop their own AI-driven solutions. To the extent that many tech experts and journalists are saying that AI has become a commodity. So, but on the other hand, we are really not finding that many examples, good examples of using AI. I mean, being Spotify or of course Amazon and Alexa are the big players in the global market, but they still have their fails in many ways. And on the local perspective, I say even in the Polish perspective, how would you find AI accessible, how to harness AI if you're only a local company with limited budget, for example, and you're not willing to wait for the big players to join in and catch your piece in the table?
We touched on a couple of subjects there. I do feel that the accessibility to these new technologies is tantamount to why we're talking about them. Meaning, yes, there is many AI providers, and we could use them to provide these tools for great things. Whether we're realizing the value there to the extent that we can is still an open question. So I think we're in the early days of this. It's not as though it's mature yet. In some ways, the hype is a bit ahead of the value. In terms of how you get started, we have also developed a great approach, which we call the Havas Make, which enables us to start with a small set, a bit of data, and develop a prototype or a minimum viable product that enables you to measure the value in context to the ROI that you may have. So we can do that in a short period of time with the client, solving a specific business need. And we've noticed that when you do that, it not only opens up or demystifies the notion of what AI can provide to the business, but enables them to experiment in a sandbox environment which they can realize business outcomes to a beneficial end. Start small, test, learn, iterate, and then not only will you avoid some of the pitfalls, you'll be able to manage the concerns regarding user privacy and develop an ethical code of trust around it, but then you'll also be able to scale successfully over time. And that's not unique to this environment. We're doing that all around the world.
So if you're a marketer, and I'm pretty sure most of the marketing business or in the advertising industry is working in a rather linear way in terms of first you get the brief, then you're doing research, doing the strategy, and then the client gets his accept and everything goes live. But how can it work in terms of data-driven marketing when I'm feeling that the stream of data is pouring all the time and you have to react a lot quicker than in the linear, the old school done campaigns?
Well, you're speaking to the new way of working. And I think advertising is also being affected by trends within agile or lean software development. So moving from a build it and it's right and there's one solution methodology to continued iteration. And the thing that data gives you is the ability to have the insights in real time as to what's working. So you need to be more flexible than having the one solution and have the ability to alter the course midstream. And so that's a different way of working. It's not threatening in any way. It's more about enabling the benefits to come to life. And we've seen clients struggle with that sometimes. They find comfort in the desire to work in the old way. What is clear is that the new way is faster, typically less expensive because you avoid costly mistakes. You're able to measure and learn in real time and adapt to the marketplace. And consumers themselves are expecting a new level of understanding. They've become accustomed to using these apps, like you mentioned, Spotify and Amazon and Google, where they demonstrate the value of data and the insights from data. So consumers have an expectation now. They're living in this new normal where they exhibit the behavior where they expect brands to know them and to not market to them in a dumb way. So it's the opportunity for brands to evolve now, and these tools enable them to evolve quickly.
Okay. You're supervising Havas Cognitive, which is sort of a special ops unit, but
That's correct,
what was the reason for creating such a team?
Well, the advent of Havas Cognitive is really interesting because, for many years we worked with IBM and IBM Watson, and we worked deep inside IBM to help them market Watson. And so the expertise that came of being their lead digital agency and developing solutions gave us an understanding of how the technology works. So we're able to speak enterprise and also translate that to consumer market. And so a couple years ago, one of the leaders at IBM actually approached us and said, hey, you guys are really good at this. Maybe you want to consider building your own unit, a specialty area in which you can show the value of cognitive inside of Havas's clients. So we did, and we got a deal moving, and we've moved beyond not just working with IBM, but to work with many AI providers now, depending upon what the use case is. So whereas we're tech agnostic in terms of the stack, that each AI technology has its own benefits, and there's reasons to use different ones for different reasons. The expertise of working with inside Watson gave us a strong understanding to develop cognitive interfaces. How do you design interfaces that can think? We became very proficient at designing these next generation interfaces that work within the constructs of the insights that come out of data-driven that come out of data-driven insights to develop informed experiences. And so that birthed Havas Cognitive, initially starting in North America, and now we've branched around the world. And many offices of Havas have centers of excellence. It's a horizontal that is really impacting all of our business, because data and data intelligence affects everything from awareness to conversion to loyalty on both media and creative.
Supposing I'm a digital marketer here in Poland, so what's the 101 for me to start incorporate cognitive marketing into my media mix, into my marketing strategy?
Well, often there's this desire to understand what consumers are thinking, to maybe do a survey or to do a questionnaire about understanding trends in terms of changing of a demographic or an audience in terms of how they think about a product. Cognitive is a great way to understand how people are thinking. Not only can you understand trends or sentiment or the use of language to understand those insights, you can apply that to how you go to market. I see a future where we move beyond marketing to segments and actually marketing to individuals. And when it makes sense, a personalized or individual experience or message can really have impact.
Okay, thanks so much for your time.
Awesome.